How will the Fisher-Conklin family respond when Belly, Lola Tongue, and Jeremiah, Gavin Casalegno, reveal their unexpected engagement? That is the focus of Last Supper, the third episode of Season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty. Last week, the third and final season of The Summer I Turned Pretty got off to a dramatic and emotional start when Belly found out that Jeremiah had slept with someone else and Steven, Sean Kaufman, was involved in a vehicle accident. It makes sense that Episode 3 is more subdued after such revelations, emphasizing character responses and self-reflection over establishing future story points. Even if this helps the episode by making Conrad's, Christopher Briney, unexpected return to the East Coast feel appropriately devastating without being overwhelmed by yet another tragedy, the most recent episode of the YA romance drama lacked something. Why does Belly appear to have forgotten about Jeremiah's transgression all of a sudden? When Belly learned of Jeremiah's worst secret during the two-episode debut of The Summer I Turned Pretty, she was understandably incensed. These scenes featured Tongue's best acting to date. I could feel her heart ache and I felt sorry for her. Jeremiah's "we were on a break" justification, reminiscent of Ross Geller, was ineffective. He cheated on her, Belly thought. I continue to believe that Belly's fear of Steven's accident, coupled with her disgust and grief, created a powerful emotional cocktail that compelled her to accept Jeremiah's unexpected proposal to live next to the hospital. However, Belly's rage is completely absent from The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 3. Belly's expression remains neutral even when Taylor, Rain Spencer, informs her of his infidelity. Seeing Belly so affectionate and intimate with Jeremiah at such a young age was disturbing. I was unable to determine if Belly was genuinely choosing to move on from such a devastating incident so rapidly or if she was merely suppressing everything that had happened. In any case, seeing her so affectionate and intimate with Jeremiah so quickly was unnerving. Tongue's body language shows no signs of reluctance. Even during the most embarrassing family supper ever, Belly leaps to Jeremiah's rescue. If Jeremiah ever will receive such grace, I'm not sure he does so yet. This episode felt different from the first two because I was expecting more of a split between him and Belly. Fortunately, however, the major family reveal went exactly as planned. The attention to detail in Last Supper is among my favorite aspects of the film. Even the simplest decisions have significance because founder Jenny Han started her career as a novelist. I was particularly struck by two in this episode. Though one needle-drop moment in Season 3, Episode 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty was a deliciously subversive surprise, the music selections in the show have always had a deeper purpose. Please 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 by Sabrina Carpenter plays over Belly's getting ready montage as she gets ready for Susanna's dedication ceremony, and her and Jeremiah's life-changing news. The song is about falling in love with someone that not everyone in your life approves of and wanting to keep the relationship going, but more importantly, protecting your pride in case it doesn't work out. Carpenter croons, "I know I have good judgment, I know I have good taste / it's funny and it's ironic that only I feel that way." It was really a great decision to play that specific song in the build-up to what we all know will be a huge family drama when Belly and Jeremiah announce their intention to be married. Does that imply that Belly already knows in her heart that she's on the wrong track? Will her connection with Jeremiah ever allow her to be honest with herself? A few minutes later in the restaurant, I saw another small thing that caught my attention. The most costly item on the menu, which costs $75, is ordered right away by Jeremiah and his father Adam, Tom Everett Scott, when Belly's mother Laurel, Jackie Chung, offers to pay for lunch. At the opposite end of the table, Conrad gets something considerably simpler, costing only $40, while Belly understandably side-eyes Adam and Jeremiah and orders a plain bowl of soup. As an aside, when Belly looks at the menu to examine the prices, you do need to pause the performance. However, these are the kinds of elements you should be aware of in this series. The psychological narrative is incredibly nuanced. As the season progresses, I can't wait to witness more instances like that and how they develop in Belly's thoughts. To be completely honest, I haven't read the novels. It hasn't worked for me thus far in Season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty, though if the show wants viewers to think of Jeremiah as a possible choice for Belly, which is to be anticipated in a love triangle tale. Even though we know it's only been a few days at most, Belly's lack of animosity toward Jeremiah in Episode 3, save from one menu moment, gives the impression that there has been a significant time jump between this week's episodes and last week's. The issue is that we aren't given any cause to support him in this episode either. We haven't really seen them together because of the 4-year time jump in this season. Episode 3 should have given me some hints as to why Belly is so determined to make things work, but I still don't get it. But it didn't. Overall, this was an engaging if not quite fulfilling installment. I need to see Belly have more difficulty trusting Jeremiah in the upcoming weeks, but Laurel's sincere rage and assertive demeanor more than made up for it. In the Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 3, Belly seems to have lost some of her agency, even though she has always made her own decisions. Taylor, who is still sad about how things ended with Stephen, then encounters Belly. In the end, Belly informs Taylor that she is engaged to Jeremiah and that they will tie the knot this summer. Belly believes they hurried into it due of Stephen's accident, but Taylor doesn't respond the way she had intended. Laurel is concerned about Stephen, so he is at home in the meantime. Although she continues to criticize herself for not being present when he was hurt, Stephen feels that her concern is a little too much. Agnes and Conrad at Stanford talk about what he will do this summer after losing his internship. Conrad is considering a job at another organization that primarily involves lab work rather than patient care. Anika, Belly's roommate, says farewell as she packs up her college room. After that, she drives back home to meet her father. John nearly makes a mistake on the way by admitting that he was with Laurel when they learned about Stephen. John consents to forego the dedication, and Laurel and John decide to maintain some distance until they get home. Belly informs Stephen that Taylor still loves him once they get back in touch. However, Stephen claims that he never felt a strong connection with her. Taylor also returns home, and her mother Lucinda urges her to try talking to Stephen once more. Jeremiah and Belly speak on the phone the following morning. Since Conrad won't be there at the dedication, Jeremiah consents to give him a call and break the momentous news. Conrad is catching up with Agnes when he attempts to phone, and she questions why he isn't attending the memorial now that he isn't working as an intern. Agnes urges him to go even though he claims it's too much to be around everyone. Taylor apologizes for her response the day before as she goes to Belly's residence. Belly invites Taylor to be her maid of honor as they formally celebrate her engagement. After that, Taylor pulls out an old scrapbook they used to plan their ideal wedding. On her way out, Taylor runs into Stephen, but he treats her coldly and distantly. After realizing what has transpired, Lucinda phones Stephen and poses as though she needs his assistance with the accounting records for her salon. Stephen tells her to email the files after grudgingly agreeing. In the meantime, Belly and Laurel comb through old memories and select photos for Susanna's remembering board. After browsing through Lucinda's books, Stephen calls Taylor to inform her that things are not going well at the salon. Surprised that her mother approached him, Taylor declines his offers of assistance and advises him to stop worrying about it. Jeremiah is there when Belly and her family visit cousins. When Belly sees Conrad, she joins him in celebrating his successful speech. Seeing him makes everyone happy. Jeremiah and Belly make the decision to hold off on making their announcement so that Susanna can take center stage. In the meantime, Taylor and her mother argue over the salon problem and the fact that she involved Stephen. Conrad and Stephen talk about how neither of them feels like they're accomplishing much at work. After that, the entire group has dinner at a classy restaurant. Each of the children receives a toast from Adam and Laurel, but Adam's for Jeremiah is not particularly noteworthy. As a result, Belly declares their impending marriage. The news is not well received as was to be expected. After Adam, Stephen, and Laurel all declare that this is a crazy choice, Laurel calls off the entire meal, forcing everyone to return to their own houses rather than the house at Cousins. Conrad is silent and in shock the entire time. The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 Episode 3 is a little dull and, to be honest, a bit boring after the significant storyline developments in the previous episodes. You spend the majority of the episode waiting for that final scene to happen because the entire show is a build-up to it. Once more, the execution is excellent, especially in sequences like the one where Belly is getting ready for the occasion. In the end, though, the entire episode feels like a drag and could have been reduced to a single scene. It doesn't help that the narrative seems incomplete. It's difficult to disagree with Stephen and Laurel. This choice is hasty, and viewers don't find Belly and Jeremiah compelling enough to back them up just yet. Even the plot with Taylor and Stephen seems to be repeating the same problem. However, Lucinda and Taylor will undoubtedly experience a significant shift as a result of the announcement of her salon. Ultimately,